find myself pleading with the Trump administration and the Bukele administration to stop playing political games with the life of Kilmar. Enough is enough. My family can't be robbed from another day without seeing Kilmar.
All right, with me now, attorney for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Rena Gandhi. Rena, thank you for joining us. An emotional day there, as you could hear. Do you have any update, first and foremost, on how your client is doing? Where is he? Is he still in the same El Salvadorian prison? And how is his condition?
Unfortunately, I have no answers for you. We've heard not one thing other than the filing from the government that he is alive and still in that jail.
So he's had no communication with you or his family?
Not with us, not with his family, not with his lawyer in El Salvador, none of us.
You were at the hearing today, the judge ordering the Trump administration to provide proof of what they're doing to try to bring your client back to the U.S., also issuing a written order. Did you feel like you got any assurances that the Trump administration might comply? They seem to say that if he could get to a port of entry, that perhaps they could facilitate him getting back into the country. What do you make of that? Is that even possible?
Well, there are a couple of countries, El Salvador, Mexico, then the U.S., right? So I don't know exactly why they would put that forward as complying with the Supreme Court order to facilitate his release, which is the key word that the Supreme Court used. We can't just look at facilitate in and of itself. It's together in context with the word release. Do I believe that the government will and can bring him home? I would like to say yes. I do get the sense that the government it plans to push back as much as they can to do, unfortunately, as maybe little as possible. But that's what we have to see going forward.
You've asked the judge to hold the Trump administration in contempt of court. What would that look like? What would it do?
So, I mean, quite frankly, we're just trying to get action. We're trying to get Kilmar home, right? If that is a recourse the judge feels is appropriate, we don't deny that, or push back against it. It could look like monetary or non-monetary sanctions. It could look like holding some of these officials in their personal or professional capacity. There are options the judge has available to use, and we trust the court's judgment.
So the Trump administration, it seems like right now, is making some contradicting statements, originally saying that he was deported by an administrative error, now saying he was not, that he was a member of the MS-13 gang. The White House press secretary just said he was a foreign terrorist and was engaged in human trafficking. What's your response to that?
The response to that is that we have a process. There is a procedure to go through if you want to make these allegations to remove someone's protection and remove them from this country. Kilmar was not given the opportunity to have that process. The administration acted as a judge. They acted like our judiciary, made that determination, and removed him from this country unlawfully, which they acknowledged. Not just the attorney that they fired, but also the, I believe, acting director, Serna, as well said this. So this is not, in my opinion, up for debate. He was unlawfully removed. He was not given correct due process.
So to that point, kind of big picture, if the Trump administration won't do anything to bring him back, the El Salvadoran president, we heard yesterday, says he's not going to do anything. What are your next options here? What is next for him?
I mean, that's to be left to be said. I can't really disclose our, future strategy and where we plan to take this case if it needs to come to that. What I would say, though, is I would push back a little bit. I don't think the formal ask has been made, at least according to the evidence that's been presented to the court. President Bukele did say that he doesn't intend to smuggle him into the country, which of course no one's asking him to do. I don't know if the ask has been made. And we would like to see that and like to see if there's any evidence of that and what that might look like, because I'm sure the government has many different ways in which they can make this kind of ask. and the Supreme Court has ordered them to do so, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you're asking for the president to formally ask the El Salvador president to facilitate him back to the country.
Or through whatever means the country has available to them through our different liaisons. We have relationships with most countries around the world, right? And there are processes that have to happen between our countries, whether it be consular processes to assist, U.S. citizens, legal permanent residents, foreign nationals between travel both to and from the United States, foreign policy issues. There are many different agencies in our government and contacts and connections that we have, and I don't know if any of them have been utilized yet.
All right. Well, Rina Gandhi, attorney for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, we appreciate you for joining us and for walking us through all of this today. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.